The sky cracked like shattered porcelain. A cold silence stretched across the void, and then came the voice, that familiar whisper of fate which had always clung to Gu Changge since birth. "Villain," it echoed, faint, mocking. "You cannot die in peace, not while your shadow reaches across countless worlds." Gu Changge opened his eyes. The immortal domain, with its warring emperors, crumbling sects, and endless struggle, was gone. He was not within the endless, starry abyss of cultivation realms, nor the cruel heavenly Tao that once observed him with a predator's patience. Instead, he stood in a forest. The scent of damp earth, thick with mana, entered his lungs. The air was different, lighter than ki, but not without weight. He raised his hand, and faint wisps of spiritual light curled around his fingers. No ki circulation? No, this is something else. Similar to aura, yet tied to the laws of this world. He smiled faintly, as if mocking the heavens again. "So, even after my ascension, you throw me into another cage?" His voice was calm, aristocratic, dripping with amusement. The forest of beginnings. Towering trees rose like spears, their leaves humming faintly with energy. Strange cries of beasts echoed in the distance. Gu Changge, ever composed, brushed his robes clean of dust. He looked the same as always, an elegant, black-haired youth, eyes as deep as an abyss, features too flawless to belong to a righteous man. But unlike other cultivators flung into new worlds, he wasn't panicked. No confusion, no wide-eyed shock, only curiosity, as if he were reading another page in a book he already owned. His consciousness extended. A ripple of intent spread like a wave, sharp enough to make birds fall dead from the trees and insects writhe on the ground. But then, something unexpected happened. Voice of the world. Unique skill detected. Warning, entity cannot be classified. Designation, error. For a heartbeat, even Gu Changge tilted his head in mild surprise. Error? So this world too had a system. It resembled a primitive form of the heavenly Tao, attempting to categorize him yet failing. How interesting. Not long after he heard them. Shuffling footsteps, weak, killing intent, the stench of fear. From the undergrowth, a group of green-skinned, hunchbacked creatures appeared, holding crude spears. Their leader trembled, but still barked, Who are you? Human? This is our territory. Leave." Gu Changge merely looked at them once, and their knees buckled. It wasn't killing intent. It wasn't aura. It was simply his presence. The natural oppression of a being who had once toyed with immortal emperors. "Goblins," he chuckled, eyes narrowing in amusement. "How quaint." The leader struggled to raise his weapon, but before he could speak again, Gu Changge's fingers traced a seal in the air. Black chains of Tao essence coiled outward, though faint, adapting themselves to the mana of this world. The goblins screamed as the chains pierced their bodies, branding them with a crimson mark. A soul contract, primitive compared to his usual methods, but sufficient. "You may continue to live," he said softly, smiling like a benevolent king. "But now you serve me." The goblins, bound by terror and unseen power, bowed. Their minds had been shackled. And so it began. The birth of another sovereign in this world. The voice intervenes. The forest trembled. The very system of this world protested. Warning, irregular detected. Adjusting, failed. Entity, the calamity beyond the system. Gu Changge's smile widened. A calamity? Oh, how flattering. Far away, within a budding monster nation, a certain slime stirred. Rimuru Tempest, still in the process of gathering allies, suddenly felt a shiver. His great sage whispered warnings of an unknown entity appearing in Jura Forest. "Strange," Rimuru muttered. "Why does it feel like the world itself is afraid?" The goblins knelt trembling under the crimson marks burning on their foreheads. Their crude weapons clattered against the roots, forgotten. Gu Changge did not even glance at them anymore. His eyes were fixed on the forest canopy, where rays of pale sunlight streamed through. "Pathetic creatures," he said softly, though not unkindly. "And yet, pawns are pawns. Even the weakest chess piece has its use." The goblin leader, sweat dripping down his leathery skin, dared to stammer, "Master, what do you desire?" Desire. The word lingered in the air. Gu Changge closed his eyes for a brief moment. What did he desire in this world? To dominate it? To shatter its system? Or was it simply to entertain himself until fate revealed its hand again? He chuckled. "For now, shelter, knowledge, and food. You will take me to your village." The goblins nodded furiously, scrambling to their feet. The chains binding their souls tightened with every thought of betrayal, ensuring loyalty far stronger than fear. The village. The goblin settlement was pitiful. Huts made of branches and straw, smoke rising weakly from half-dead fires. Starving children peeked from behind crude walls, their eyes wide with fear and curiosity. When Gu Changge entered, escorted by the marked goblins, the entire tribe fell silent. They had seen strong beings before, wolves, ogres, even wandering adventurers, but never something like him. The very air around him seemed to distort, a pressure that made breathing difficult. The elder of the goblins, hunched and leaning on a broken staff, dragged himself forward. He squinted with milky eyes before kneeling outright. Great One, who has descended upon us, forgive our rudeness. Gu Changge studied him briefly. This elder had wisdom born of desperation, but no strength. Still, he could serve as a mouthpiece. You may rise, Gu Changge said lazily, as though addressing insects. From this day onward, your tribe is mine. Your lives belong to me. In return, I will grant you protection, strength, and purpose. Murmurs spread among the goblins. Fear, awe, a spark of hope. The elder bowed again, forehead pressing against the dirt. We accept, Great Master. Experimentation. That night, Gu Changge sat alone on a flat rock at the edge of the village, his eyes half closed. He had been testing. When he circulated his ki, nothing answered. Instead, the ambient energy of this world responded. A strange essence called magicules. It was more primal than ki, yet infinitely malleable. Interesting, he mused. The foundation is weaker, but the system of this world compensates with skills. It is less free, but more stable. He had already begun merging his cultivation techniques with the structure of this new law. His demonic Dao-Heart Sutra twisted itself into a unique skill. His mastery of illusions took root as an innate ability. The contracts he forged with goblins became recognized as a sub-skill, and yet the system kept flagging errors, unable to fully comprehend him. So error, entity exceeds classification limits. Adjusting hierarchy, new title acquired, sovereign from beyond. Gu Changge laughed softly. So I am beyond even your gods, delightful. While Gu Changge was settling into the goblin tribe, far away, Rimuru sat with his newly acquired companions. The great sage's voice echoed within his mind. A warning. An unidentified irregular has manifested. Its existence does not conform to world laws. Recommendation: avoid direct confrontation until more data is obtained. Rimuru frowned. That bad, huh? Even you can't analyze it properly? Affirmative. Probability of threat level: catastrophic. The slime let out a sigh, scratching his non-existent head. Great. Just when I thought things were finally settling down. He glanced at the smiling faces of the goblins and wolves around him. A chill ran down his core. Whoever this irregular was, they were dangerous. Back in the forest village, Gu Changge rose to his feet. Dozens of goblins awaited him, trembling but eager. From now on, he declared, his voice smooth and commanding, you will build. No more wallowing in filth. You will raise structures worthy of my gaze. You will hunt, not scavenge. You will conquer weakness. The goblins roared in unison, though weak. Their voices carried a strange fervor. The crimson marks on their foreheads pulsed, filling them with borrowed strength. Gu Changge looked at them, satisfied. In his old world, immortal emperors had danced like puppets under his schemes. Here, he would start with goblins, and soon he would move on to demon lords, nations, even the so-called gods of this realm. The corners of his lips curved into that familiar smile, a smile that promised nothing but ruin. The night passed in silence, though for the goblins it was unlike any night before. Where once they cowered in fear of fangs and claws in the dark, now they felt a suffocating weight pressing down on their souls, the mark of their new master. Some trembled, others dared to whisper of salvation, but all knew one truth: there was no turning back. At dawn, Gu Changge emerged from the crude hut they had prepared for him. His black robes, spotless despite the forest dirt, billowed faintly in the breeze. His eyes, dark as endless void, swept over the village. Goblins scrambled to bow, their knees hitting the ground as if pulled by invisible strings. Rise, he commanded lazily, his voice smooth yet undeniable. Today we hunt. The elder shuffled forward nervously. Great Master, forgive me, but the forest wolves, they come each night to prey on us. We cannot defeat them. Gu Changge raised an eyebrow. Wolves, primitive beasts compared to the immortal beasts of his old world, and yet, in this realm they carried mana within their flesh, giving them strength far beyond mortal animals. How quaint, he murmured, almost amused. Then let us tame your predators. He gestured, and the crimson marks upon the goblins pulsed. They cried out as strength surged into their frail limbs, their bodies momentarily reinforced by his will. Though still weak, they stood straighter, their eyes burning with unnatural fervor. Lead me to these wolves. The goblins guided him to the forest's edge, where claw marks, scarred trees, and bones lay scattered. Soon, a chorus of howls split the morning silence. From the undergrowth emerged sleek black wolves, their fangs glowing faintly with gathered mana. The pack leader, a wolf nearly twice the size of the rest, padded forward with regal menace. Its eyes glowed red, filled with hunger and dominance. The goblins trembled. Master, that is their chieftain. None have survived his bite. Gu Changge stepped forward, unconcerned. The wolf snarled, sensing a rival predator, and lunged. Time slowed. Gu Changge lifted a single hand. The wolf froze mid-leap, suspended by invisible chains of Dao essence woven seamlessly into this world's magicules. Its body writhed, legs thrashing uselessly. Gasps erupted from the goblins. The entire pack faltered, unsure whether to flee or attack. You bow or you break, Gu Changge said softly, his voice like a velvet blade. Chains constricted. The wolf chieftain howled in pain as the mark of contract burned onto its forehead. The scent of singed fur and spirit essence filled the air. Then, silence. The beast lowered its head. One by one, the rest of the wolves collapsed into submission, their instincts bowing to the supremacy of their leader's defeat. Gu Changge released the chains, smiling faintly. So easily bent. Truly, this world is generous. By dusk, the goblin village echoed with howls. Wolves prowled alongside goblins, no longer enemies but unwilling allies bound by a tyrant's will. Children stared wide-eyed at the towering beasts now guarding their homes. Warriors who once feared leaving the village now rode upon the wolves' backs with trembling pride. The elder approached Gu Changge, kneeling low. Great master, never before have we are yours entirely. Command us, and we shall follow. Gu Changge looked down at the kneeling elder. To him, these creatures were ants, but ants that could build empires if guided by the right hand. You will build, he commanded. Stone, not straw, fire, not smoke, and blood, not weakness. With goblin and wolf alike, I will raise a dominion here. A dominion that will make nations tremble. The goblins roared, intoxicated by his presence, their voices mingling with the howls of wolves. The forest seemed to shake in answer. Far from the forest, in the burgeoning town of Tempest, Rimuru once again felt the warning stirrings within his core. Great sage, he said aloud, his slime body quivering. That weird, irregular... Is it moving? Answer, affirmative. The irregular has subjugated multiple monster tribes. Estimated growth rate, exponential. Threat classification rising. Rimuru sighed, muttering, Seriously? I just wanted a peaceful life. His companions glanced at him curiously, but he smiled to hide his unease. Deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just another monster. Whoever it was, they were changing the balance of the entire world. That night, Gu Changge stood at the edge of the village, gazing up at the moon. The wolves prowled silently, goblins slept with bellies full for the first time in weeks, and the forest was unusually still. He considered his next step. In his old world, he had crushed sects, toppled dynasties, manipulated destiny itself. Here, this world was simpler, easier. The system was rigid, predictable. Its laws could not bind him. In the markets of Bloomend, rumors spread faster than coin. Merchants, mercenaries, and adventurers all whispered the same tale. A shadowy figure had appeared deep in Jura Forest. Goblins that should have been fodder now marched in formation. Wolves once feared became steeds, and humans, captured adventurers, had not returned. Some called him the Goblin King, others the Black Emperor, but most agreed on one name, whispered with dread, the Dark Sovereign. No one knew where the name came from, perhaps from a trembling adventurer who escaped the forest, perhaps planted by Gu Changge himself, carried like a curse into the ears of the world. Whatever the case, the name spread, and with it, fear. In Tempest, Rimuru frowned as Rigard, the goblin chieftain, finished his report. Travelers speak of this dark sovereign, my lord. They say he commands goblins, wolves, and even humans with unnatural power. Rimuru's slime body quivered slightly. He had worked hard to build peace, to create a place where monsters could coexist without fear. The thought of another ruler rising in the same forest, one who enslaved rather than uplifted, filled him with unease. Great sage, Rimuru thought. What do you make of this? Or answer. Subject's existence remains classified as irregular. Probability of conflict, 92%. Probability of peaceful resolution, less than 10%. Less than 10, huh? Rimuru muttered. That bad, huh? Benimaru crossed his arms. Shall we eliminate him before he grows too strong? Shuna shook her head gently. If he truly is as powerful as the rumors say, rushing in may cost us dearly. Rimuru sighed. Then we'll start with information. Send out a team. I want to know exactly who this guy is and what he wants. Far from Tempest, in a dark castle illuminated by violet flames, demon lords gathered in hushed conversation. Guy Crimson lounged upon his throne, scarlet eyes narrowed in thought. Beside him, Leon Cromwell sipped wine indifferently, while Frey and Milim exchanged curious glances. Another power rising in Jura Forest, Leon remarked casually. First the slime, now this. What is it with that place? Guy smirked. Fate likes to gather chaos in one spot, makes the game more entertaining. Do you believe the rumors? Frey asked. Goblins uniting, humans enslaved, wolves tamed, a sovereign that even the world system cannot classify? Guy's smirk widened into something darker. Oh, I believe it. In fact, I look forward to meeting him. The air chilled. Even among demon lords, there was tension in speaking of an unknown sovereign who moved like a shadow. Meanwhile, Gu Changge's village had grown into something unrecognizable. Wooden palisades rose around its edges. Torches lit cobbled paths. Wolves patrolled with goblins upon their backs, while captured humans trained them in swordsmanship. In only weeks, what was once a ragged camp had become a fortress in the making. Gu Changge stood atop the central hall, gazing down with cold amusement. Pathetic creatures, he murmured. Yet with my hand guiding them, they build faster than mortals of my old world, perhaps because they know fear more intimately. He stretched his senses outward, brushing against the threads of fate. He could feel it, the world watching him, monsters whispering, humans trembling, even the demon lords turning their gaze toward him. How delightful, he said, lips curving. The game begins. That night, 3 figures slipped silently into the edges of Gu Change's forest. Rimuru had sent them Soei, the shadowy ninja, along with 2 of his kin, their task to gather information. Soei crouched upon a branch, eyes scanning the fortified village below. Impossible, he whispered. This is no goblin settlement, it's an army. The others nodded, equally disturbed. They saw goblins drilling in formation, wolves armored in crude steel, humans teaching archery to children. And at the center, upon a raised platform, a black-haired youth with eyes like void, speaking calmly as goblins knelt in worship. Who is he? One ninja murmured. Soei narrowed his eyes. Not human, not monster, something else. We must report to Lord Rimuru immediately. But as they turned to leave, a voice slid into their ears like silk. Leaving so soon? They froze. Gu Changge stood before them, though they had not heard him move. His gaze pinned them in place, shadows writhing around his form. How rude, he said softly, his smile like a blade. Spies crawling in my forest. Did Rimuru send you? The ninjas said nothing, but their silence betrayed them. Gu Change's eyes gleamed. Good. Then let him know. I will come to him soon. And when I do, this forest will have only one sovereign. When Soei returned to Rimuru's council chamber, even his calm composure couldn't hide the weight of what he had seen. He kneeled. My lord, we confirm the existence of the one called the Dark Sovereign. Rimuru's tone was serious, and Soei took a breath. He commands monsters, no armies. His goblins are disciplined like elite troops. His wolves are trained mounts. Humans serve him willingly, or perhaps under some kind of control. He's not a simple monster. He saw us. Rimuru blinked. He saw you? Soei's eyes darkened. He appeared instantly, as if stepping out of the shadows themselves. His presence was suffocating. He knew we were from Tempest. He said, Soei hesitated, voice low. He said, I will come to him soon, and when I do, this forest will have only one sovereign. Benimaru's aura flared like a wildfire. That bastard! Calm down, Rimuru said, though his usually cheerful tone was gone. If he's that strong, charging in blindly would only make us his next example. Cheyenne slammed her fist into her palm. Then let me go! I'll crush him before he even... Enough! Rimuru's voice carried an authority that silenced even Cheyenne. This isn't a simple fight. This guy's different. He turned toward the window, watching the forest sway under the moonlight. I need to know what he wants before everything we've built burns. Far away, Gu Changge sat upon a throne made of interwoven roots and stone. The air hummed with dark energy, and shadowy mist swirled around his fingers. Before him knelt dozens of goblins, wolves, and humans alike. Rise, Gu Changge said, voice cold yet enthralling. You have done well. The goblin chief bowed deeply. My lord, the scouts report humans gathering at the edges of the forest. They whisper your name even in the cities. A faint smirk tugged at his lips. Let them whisper louder. He stood, his form exuding a quiet, dreadful authority. Fear is the foundation of order. In my world, cultivators ascended by trampling countless others. Here I shall do the same, but I will not destroy for pleasure. I will create perfection through dominance. He gestured, and the air shimmered as black runes formed around him, floating scriptures from his old cultivation world. Forbidden thou art, sovereign's mandate. Through control, bring harmony. Through fear, bring peace. His aura expanded, pressing upon every living being in the fortress. The goblins trembled, but none dared flee. Instead, they bowed lower. Gu Changge's eyes gleamed. See? Even weaklings understand purpose when crushed beneath strength. At his side, his newly evolved lieutenant, once a lowly goblin, stepped forward, now a tall, armored hobgoblin with crimson eyes. My lord, he said, you've named us, shaped us, given us strength. Why not give yourself a title worthy of the heavens? Gu Changge chuckled. A title? He raised his gaze to the night sky. Very well. From this day onward, this land shall be known as Dark Heaven, and I am the Sovereign of Shadows. 3 nights later, Rimuru's scouts brought something strange to Tempest. A black banner carried by wind had been found at the border of the Jura Forest. Upon it, written in an unfamiliar script of glowing silver, was a message. To the slime who calls himself a ruler, the forest does not need 2 kings. Submit or be absorbed into my domain. Gu Changge, Sovereign of Shadows. Rimuru's slime body quivered with irritation. Absorbed, huh? This guy's got some nerve. Benimaru's flame hair flickered. We should answer this insult with war. But Rimuru's tone was sharp. No, not yet. Shuna tilted her head. You mean? You want to talk to him? Rimuru nodded. If he's smart enough to send a message instead of an attack, there's a chance we can avoid bloodshed. I'll meet him. Sui's eyes widened. Alone? Rimuru's tone was steady. He said he'll come soon. I'd rather greet him on my terms than wait for him to burn our door down. In dark heaven, Gu Changge stood upon the walls, watching the stars fade with dawn. His expression was unreadable. Behind him, his lieutenant knelt. My lord, the scouts say the Slime King has accepted your challenge. Gu Change's eyes gleamed faintly. Good, let him come. He reached into the air and drew out a blade of pure darkness, its hilt engraved with celestial runes. The air trembled around it. Every world has its strongest, he murmured. In my last world, I was the cultivator who devoured immortals. In this one, I shall be the sovereign who devours gods. A cruel smile curved his lips. As the sun rose, both domains stirred, Tempest soldiers preparing quietly and dark heaven's legions sharpening their weapons. The forest, once peaceful, now stood on the brink of war. Birds fled, magicules thickened in the air. The winds themselves trembled. Two powers, born from different worlds, now faced destiny's collision. One sought peace through unity, the other sought order through domination. All right, everyone, that's it for part 1. If you enjoyed it and want to see part 2, drop a comment below. I'll try my best to make it even longer and upload it faster. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Your support really means a lot and keeps me motivated to create more awesome content. See you in the next video. Goodbye.